start standing today, come stand up. You can split your feet out to hips width distance or slightly wider. And we'll start just moving the hips in a circle. You can close your eyes or keep them steady at something that doesn't move. And breathe in. And breathe out. Now let your circles find their own rhythm. It does not need to sync up perfectly with breath, but you want your breath to have its own rhythm as well, so that your inhales get full and your exhales fully empty. Well, the next time you come forward with your hips, if you haven't already, change the direction of your circle. And you might notice that there's a spot that feels good that you want to just hang out in. You might become acutely aware of the way the weight changes and shifts in your feet. Let your breath come in and let your breath go out. All right. The next time you find yourself in a neutral place, pause and let the weight land even towards the back of your feet, neutral in your pelvis. Inhale your arms up and overhead. And with an exhale, bring your hands together at center. On your inhale, bend your knees. Sweep your arms out and up. So a mini chair. And on your exhale, bring your hands through center and stand up. So we'll do that a few more times. If you prefer to have your feet closer together, you can toe heel them. But on your inhale, you'll bend your knees into a higher than normal chair. Sweep your arms up. On your exhale, bring your hands down to center, stand tall. Twice more. Inhale, sweeping up, bending through the knees. Exhale, standing tall, letting your thumbs touch your chest. One more time for good measure. Inhale, sweep up, and sit back. Exhale, stand with your hands together at center. Drop your chin into your chest and connect your mind to whatever it is that gets you to your mat. And with clarity in your intention, send your intention from your mind to your feet so it can support you in moving with intention. And take a breath in. Exhale through the mouth. And keep your intention in your feet, but also set it in your hands so it can support you doing in that direction. We'll take another breath in. And a full breath out. Now, depending on where you are on your mat, you might need to turn so that you're on the length of your mat. But you'll take your feet so that your feet are parallel to the edges of your mat on the long edge. And you can start to toe heel your feet out to about a 4-foot stance, maybe a 3.5-foot stance. This time as you inhale, sweep your arms up. And with your exhale, interlace your hands behind your back. You can use a strap or a towel if interlacing doesn't work. Soften in your knees, shift your hips back, and shrug your shoulders down your back. We'll slowly fold here. Now if it doesn't feel good to fold, you can put your head on a chair, on a pillow, or you can put your hands towards the floor. But if it feels okay, let your arms come overhead. Get a stretch through the upper back and shoulders. A couple of options. If you have blocks and your head wants for support, let your head rest on some blocks. We'll take a breath in. And we'll take a breath out. On your next inhale, bend in your knees and find a long spine. You can keep the bind or set your hands to the floor. With your exhale, turn your toes out, coil up into horse. And you can use the blocks for support or not. To keep some pressure off the shoulders today, we'll use horse instead of down dog as much as possible, which I know is a weird switch, but we'll see how it works for us. In your horse, put your hands on your hips, take a breath in. With your exhale, try to draw your elbows towards one another behind you. Keeping your hands towards your hips as you inhale, let them come forward. Exhale, draw the elbows back. And we're not trying to make this as hard or uncomfortable as possible, so if you need your horse to be a relatively simple bend, that's okay. You can be low to the floor too. Inhale, elbows forward. Exhale, draw them back. Twice more. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. Forward as you breathe in. And back as you breathe out. Okay. Inhale, your arms go up, your legs extend. And with your exhale, you'll turn towards your left leg, bend your left knee, bring your hands to the floor for a lunge. You can tap the right knee down. And if you need extra support, you can either put a soft block or a rolled up towel underneath the right knee. Let your left knee stack over your left heel. And try to shimmy your hips from side to side until you find both balance, anchoring through the top of your right foot, and a sense of, leveling off the hips. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, shrug your shoulders back, hollow the low ribs back, which will, if you hug in through the upper abs, you'll probably feel more in your right hip flexors. You can keep the hands low, or if it feels okay, take the right arm up and breathe in. And you can stay here or take your left hand to your right wrist and gently draw over. One deep breath in. And a full breath out. One more time now. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through the mouth. Come back up to center for a moment and try to find some strength. Maybe you can shift your gaze or your chest upward for a subtle back bend. Breathe in. And breathe out. 2 more breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last breath in. And with your exhale, bring both hands down to the inside edge of your left foot. You can walk your left foot a little wider for more support. Try to slide your right knee back if you have the space. And we'll come into lizard. Now, if you have blocks or support, you can put blocks underneath your right thigh or blocks underneath your elbows. We'll pause here for a moment and say hello to the hips in a slightly deeper way. Now, this is an area that can tend to get quite tight from all the sitting that we've been doing in front of Zoom and computers and all of the things. So as you're being in your lizard, you might prefer to be high, you might prefer to be high up on your hands or high up on your hands on blocks. You can be low with your hands towards the ground. You can even find a subtle rocking. But try to notice what lets you really feel your way into your pelvis. And let your lizard pose help you explore the edges of the pelvis and all the connective tissue around it. We'll take a breath in and a breath out. Okay. When it's time to come out, press down into your hands. Gently shift your hips back so that they stack over the line of your right knee and turn your left toes up so it'll be a wide half split or Ardha Hanumanasana. Now from here, especially in this wider configuration, the hips often will try to open. Try to let your right hip and left hip be level from right to left and turn your left toes up. Take a breath in. And you can stay here or explore turning the toes in and the toes out. When you feel complete, we'll take a gentle bend back through the left knee. You can let your hands stay on your blocks or come to the floor. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, walk your left knee wide until your left knee can come beside your right at hips width distance. Now, if you need to adjust what's underneath your knees for more support or just wider support across your mat, take a moment to do that. We'll set up some cat-cows. You can be on fists or flat palms, and if you prefer to be on elbows on blocks, you can do that as well. But on an inhale, you'll arch your back, shrug your shoulders broad. And as you exhale, hug your belly, round through your spine. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. And take a few more rotations like that. Noticing where it feels good to articulate or shrug, where you're holding, where you feel stuck. Allowing the breath to come in time with the motion. And when you've had enough spinal flexion, you'll exhale your way into child's pose, shifting your hips back towards your heels and allowing the forehead to come down. With your forehead on the ground, you can take a gentle rocking from side to side, allowing your forehead to get a massage or a brow massage across the floor. Let your breath come in. And your breath go out. When it's time to move again, you'll rock up into table on your inhale. And with your exhale, extend the left leg back behind you. Try to keep the right knee so that it's right under the right hip, but your left leg is long behind you. And you can take a little bit of play from side to side in the hips, or even in bending the extended leg behind you to find how you can access your calf differently. We just stretched the hamstring, but the calf can be a little bit more elusive. So when you rock forward on your inhale, you're setting yourself up. And with your exhale, you'll rock back, pressing straight back through the heel. We'll take a few of these rockings forward and back. And forward and back. One more time. Inhale forward. Exhale back. This time as you inhale forward, float your left leg up. Take a deep breath in, lifting through the heel. And with your exhale, use core strength to step the left foot lightly between your hands. Hips low, chest lifts. Inhale. And with your exhale, curl your right toes under, spin the right heel down, and we'll find warrior two. Taking the arms out and up. Try to settle your right hip down in line with your left, so that the left knee is over the left heel and the hips are level. Your arms extend out. Take a deep breath in. And a full breath out. We'll integrate some gentle motion here. On an inhale, extend both legs, reach your arms up overhead. And on your exhale, bend back into your left knee for warrior two. Two more of those. Inhaling up. Exhaling, strength. Inhaling to extend. Exhaling, warrior two. This time, inhale, your arms go up and pause. You can toe heel your back foot in, your right foot in slightly if you want extra support. We're taking triangle, so shift your hips back towards your right foot. And if you have blocks, you might want them underneath your left hand, behind your left shin. Once you find the spot for your left hand, reach your right arm up. Now, particularly if you mentioned hip stuff, take a moment, breathe in, soften through both knees. And with your exhale, try to hug your big leg bones up towards your pelvis. Hug your heels in towards one another. Breathe in through your nose and out through the mouth. Take another breath in and a breath out. One more inhale. And with your exhale, walk your hands over to the right. You can take blocks with you if you like for a wide-legged forward fold. Hands come forward, hips shift back with your inhale. And with your exhale, drop your head and fold, and really consciously shake your head out. You can shake it yes, you can shake it no. When you're ready to move, you'll inhale again to a long flat back and pause. And with your exhale, keep your left hand down to the floor or on blocks, whichever works best for you. And you'll bring your right hand to your right hip. Inhale again. You can bend in the left elbow to help shrug your shoulder back, but turn your upper body to the right. Deep breath in here. And full breath out through the mouth. You can stay with your hand towards your hip, or inhale your right arm up and out. And with your exhale, gently bend your right elbow back in space as if your right elbow were trying to meet your sacrum, or that small triangular shaped bone at the base of your spine. Inhale, the arm goes straight up. Exhale, gentle bend. One more time, inhale. Exhale, gentle bend. Inhale the right arm up. Let your weight come into your toes, bring your heels in, and as you exhale, you'll windmill both arms up for horse. Oh, the unexpected horse pose. Well, this time, bring your arms into a cactus shape, or goalpost arms. Take a breath in. With your exhale, try to tap the elbows together in front of you. Sorry, Jerry. Inhale your arms out and back. Exhale, your elbows come together to touch. We'll do that a few more times. Inhaling open, looking to keep the elbows in line with the shoulders. And as you exhale, tap the elbows towards one another. Open and close. Open and close. One more time. Inhale and exhale. This time, open up your arms wide. Look to your right as you exhale. Windmill your arms to your right foot. Tap the left knee down. You'll bring your hands towards your right thigh, and if you need to bring blocks over for where we're headed, you're welcome to do that preemptively. But you'll let your weight come forward of your back knee. Support your left knee in any way that you need. This knee seems more cranky right now, so maybe you add height. Cool. When the right knee is over the right heel, you'll gently hug up through the front line. And you can keep your hands supporting your low back, or send the left arm high. Take a deep breath in, and a full breath out. Anchor through the top of your left foot, and maybe you take your right hand to your left wrist and gently draw it over. Breath goes in, and breath goes out. Deep and full breath in. Deep and full breath out. One more inhale. And an exhale. We'll come back up through center, maybe falling down. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, bring both hands down to the inside edge of your right foot. Walk your right foot as wide as you like. You can put your hands on blocks. You could put your hip on a block or your left thigh, providing whatever support you like to get deep into your lunge. You might get low and realize that's lower than your body wants right now. You might be higher and realize that your body wants to go lower. Take about 8 breaths to explore this pose as if you've never been in it before. Noticing how this side, this body, this leg, this hip, this thigh, how it all feels here. Right now. is time to come out. You'll use your hands or fists and walk them in towards your left leg so that your right leg starts to straighten. Turn your right toes up towards the ceiling and use blocks or support to turn or level off your hips. Right toes turn up. Take a breath in. And then take a breath out. You can be perfectly still here. You can add extra support. Make your supports higher. Maybe you explore turning your toes out and in. Let your breath come and let your breath go. When you feel complete here, let your weight shift forward again into your hands. You can bend your right knee ever so slightly. Breathe in. And with an exhale, tap the right knee down at hips width distance beside your left. Coming onto fists or flat palms, you can either take a cat-cow, again, or let this moment be a little bit more fluid, perhaps figure eights through the hips, or what one of my friends refers to as barrel cat, where you try to move your rib cage around as if it's in one big barrel, trying to touch all the edges with your rib cage. You might choose to do one then the other, exploring fluidity of motion over the next 3 or so breaths. When you feel complete, you'll settle back down into child's pose. This time, if you'd like a little bit extra sensation, you can keep your toes tucked under behind you so that when you shift your hips back towards your heels, there's just a little hint of toes pose. Let your breath come in and let your breath steady out. As you feel complete, you'll inhale your way up to table and extend your right leg back. You take a full breath in, taking a moment to settle your right leg so that your knee is supporting the shift of weight back towards the calf. And you'll find your rocking action forward on your inhale and back as you exhale. And forward and back. And forward and back. And take 3 or 4 more. stretching the calf and the base of the foot. The next time you come forward, pause, lift your right leg up, breathe in. With an exhale, step the right foot forward and pause. Let your hips come forward, your chest lift up, inhale. And with your exhale, curl your back toes under, settle your left foot down, and you'll find warrior two. So the right knee is over the right heel. The hips are relatively level and the shoulders are over the hips. If it doesn't work to open and extend the arms, just keep them down. If it feels okay, take a breath in. And a breath out. All right. Inhale here. And before we move, try to shrug your shoulder blades towards one another. Soften them away from your ears. We'll try to keep that even as we inhale, straight legs, straight arms, up and over. Exhale, bend in the front knee, level, and settle the shoulders. Inhale, extension. Exhale, bend, and soften. Inhale, up. Exhale, back down. One more time. Inhale. And exhale back down. This time we'll extend through the right leg, take both arms up. And if you need to shorten the distance between your feet, you can. We're setting up triangle pose now. Your hips will shift back towards your left leg. And blocks underneath your right hand, behind your right shin might be super helpful. Any height is fine. Just lift your left arm up when you can. There's quite a significant interplay between the side body and the muscles of the hips. So as you're here, you can explore turning the upper body so that your side line is roughly over your right leg, extending out. Maybe you play with softening your knees again and hugging up into your hips and noticing how that changes things. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale and exhale. Last breath in here. And with your exhale, let your right toes turn in as your hands come to the left, wide-legged forward fold. You can use blocks or not, but for a moment, just give your hips a sway from side to side. If it feels better to have more weight in your hands, that's okay. If you like keeping the weight back, with your hips in line with your heels, it's a little bit more hamstring focused and also perhaps a little bit more in the hips. But you can let your hips shift from one side to the other, stretching the inner groin from one side to the other. When you feel settled from right to left, you'll lengthen your spine again. Take a breath in. Keep the right hand low, set the left hand on your left hip, and turn to the left. Lengthen as you inhale through the spine. And with your exhale, look over to your left. And you can stay right here. This is quite a lot in the shoulder, but if it feels good, inhale your left arm up, And with your exhale, you can gently draw it back. Inhaling the left arm up and exhaling to gently draw the left elbow back in space. Breathe in. Exhaling back. 2 or 3 more at your own pace. The next time you feel complete, you'll set both hands down, lengthen to a long spine. And with your exhale, start to toe heel your feet to a hips width stance. One last time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to center. All right. Inhale to that little chair that we did earlier. Arms go up, hips go back. And while you're here in the chair, notice if your legs are strong or if you're noticing that they're trying to bow out. Hug your thighs in around the muscle of your upper leg and then draw the muscle back. Yeah, you can put your hands on your thighs and actually feel the muscle turn on. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, there are 2 ways to make this transition happen. You can start to lower yourself down very slowly, or you can put your hands down first and then your bum, but eventually we'll come down to the floor. Okay. If you have a bolster, get it. If you don't have a bolster, you'll use blocks and towels or towels and pillows to make a ramp shape. So it might be with a bolster. This is a really firm bolster. It might be a block with a bolster over it, but the idea is just that it tilts like a ramp. Now, we'll set the left hip right up against the edge of the bolster, and if your hip hasn't any sensitivity at all, spread out a towel or a blanket in front of it. Now your knees can be apart, or sometimes it's nice to roll a towel in between just to help keep your hips happy. You'll turn to face the bolster. Now, I have a pregnant belly to contend with, but for most of us, the belly and chest will come straight down, and the forehead can turn in either direction. Let your elbows go out wide, and if you also have a baby growing in your belly, I don't think anybody here does, but just in case, you can scoot the bolster a little bit off of your hip to give the belly space to come down. We'll come into this ramped, supportive shape for a few moments. For the few moments that we're here, try to observe what happens to your breath, to your breathing in that time. these last few shapes, if you prefer to linger in one rather than transitioning, or if you want to see where we're going first before you make the move, I respect that. You'll press down into your hands when it's time to come up. Walk your hands in so that you sit upright and pause. You'll let your right knee drop all the way over to the right. And then extend your left leg out, using the bolster or the pillows or blocks, whatever's behind you, to sit up tall. If you need extra support, you can slide a rolled up towel under your right knee, under your left knee, whatever the case may be. Sit up tall as you breathe in. And as you exhale, you might start to fold forward. If you have sensitivity in your left knee and you don't have anything handy, sometimes I'll just slide a hand or a fist underneath the extended leg so that it can't lock down into the floor. Take a breath in. And a breath out. One more inhale. And exhale. When it's time to come up, and again, this is a pose that you could choose to stay in. You'll walk your hands in. You can scoop underneath your left knee for support. You'll guide your left knee over to your right knee. If you need something between your thighs, put something between, but you'll turn to face your bolster, but now from the right side, so the right hip is on right next to the bolster, or if your belly needs space for any reason, you can leave a gap, but you'll turn and bring your chest down, and your elbows down on either side.
when it's time to move again. And again, you can stay here even longer if you like. And when it's time, you'll press into your hands. Walk your hands towards your knees. Slide the small of your back up against the edge of the bolster, and as you do, you'll let your left knee go wide and your right leg extend. You can support underneath your left knee with a towel or a block. And use your hands beside you to sit up tall. Take a breath in. And you might choose to stay right here if that's enough in your right hamstring. If it feels nice, you can fold forward. Or like a comfortable place to linger. Maybe you hinge quite a bit, maybe not. And take a breath in. And a breath out. When you feel complete, you'll walk your hands back in underneath you. Take a hold of your right knee and help support it in. We'll set up butterfly feet. Now, if you have blocks or towels that you can fold up evenly underneath your thighs, use them. And you've got the bolster right behind you, and you can come into very supported fish. Now this will be our final resting pose today. If you prefer to take a more traditional route, you can sit up, take the bolster, or if you're using pillows, take them out, put them underneath your thighs and extend your legs out. Whatever you end up deciding, let your body land. You can support that practice of relaxation by taking your mind up and down the length of your body and asking each part to release or to settle, to land. have a little bit more time and don't need to be somewhere right after this class. Stay in your resting pose a little longer. If you do need to conclude on time, slide your hands underneath your thighs and support your knees in coming up towards the ceiling. If your legs are extended, you can use an exhale to bring one foot at a time to the ground. Take a breath. If you've been on a ramp this whole time, you can hold on to your legs to help you come up. If you're flat on your back, roll to your side first, and then make a transitional move. One way or another, you'll end up seated. And we'll find a comfortable seat. Sitting tall. Set your shoulders over your hips. And try to feel your weight land in your sit bones. And take a breath in. And a breath out. Alright. Inhale, your arms go up. And with your exhale, interlace your hands and bring them behind your head. We'll take the head in a big circle. Letting each elbow have a moment of height. A moment of the elbows wrapping in. And a moment of leaning back into the hands. When you feel complete with that action, you might take a few circles, but when you feel complete, bring your hands together at center chest. Set your mind to whatever it was that got you to your mat in the first place. And take a deep bow of gratitude for your body and mind for coming together in this time. Honoring the union of self and the union of community. Thank you for sharing practice.